I want to tell you the most interesting story in the world. Why a person becomes the person he becomes. Why a little boy or a little girl grows up to be the kind of person he or she becomes. Now, the estimates by the experts in this field are that most of us are using somewhere around 5% of our real potential. Some experts say as little as 1%. It means that we're only giving about 5% of ourselves to what we're doing, to our days, our work, our families, everyone we know, our entire environment. But it also means that we're only experiencing 5% of the fun, 5% of the joy, 5% of the rewards we could be knowing, or less. All the experts are agreed that in each of us, there are deep reservoirs of ability, even genius, that we habitually fail to use. Why? We know that most people desire by nature to succeed. But what is success? What is this word that has become so famous in the world? What does it mean? Most people don't know what success is all about. And since they don't know what it's about, they really don't know where to look for it. Success is really nothing more than the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. This means that any person who knows what he's doing and where he's going is a success. Any person with a goal toward which he's working is a successful person. This means that the boy in high school who's working toward a diploma, or the boy in college toward a degree, is just as successful as any human being on earth, because he knows what he's doing, why he's getting up in the morning, and where he's going. But conversely, if a person doesn't know what he's working toward, what it is he wants, doesn't have a goal toward which he's working, then he must, at least by this definition, be called unsuccessful. Why isn't then, with this simple definition, why isn't everyone successful? Should be easy. Yet surveys indicate that 19 out of 20, 95% at least, are not. In fact, a survey one time asked thousands of working men why they got up in the morning and went to work, and 19 out of 20 didn't know. 19 out of 20 working people didn't have the foggiest notion of why they got up in the morning and went to work. Under closer questioning, they said, well, everybody works. Well, that would be a good reason to quit. In fact, here's a little rule of thumb you might want to remember. Whatever the great majority is doing under any given circumstance, if you do exactly the opposite, you'll probably never make another mistake as long as you live. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. The problem with most people is that they're playing the world's most unrewarding game, and the name of the game is follow the follower. There's a story about a small town in which there was a jewelry store, and like all jewelry stores, or most jewelry stores at least, he had a big clock in his window. And every morning for years, he'd noticed a working man stop, adjust his pocket watch to the same time as the clock in the window. He'd been doing this for many years, and one morning the jeweler was out in front sweeping a sidewalk, and so he asked the man, he said, tell me, why do you adjust your watch to my big clock every morning? I've noticed you're doing that for years. The man said, well, I'm the foreman down at the big plant. He said, I want to make sure my watch is correct because I blow the quitting whistle every night at 5 o'clock. The jeweler looked at him rather strangely for a minute, and he said, well, that's funny. He said, I've been setting that big clock in the window by that quitting whistle all these years. A very logical thing, but they could have been off 6 months. It was a case of a person just going along with what he thought to be correct without checking his references. So I want to suggest that from now on out, at least we do that we check our references and ask ourselves, are the people I'm following going where I want to go? Let me tell you the story of what we might call the average young man in our society. Now, from the time this boy is born, there's only one thing on earth he can do, and that's to begin to think, act, and talk like the people by whom he's surrounded. This is all in the world he can do. But right off the bat, the odds are 95 to 5 that he's thinking, acting, and talking like the wrong group. They're wonderful people. They love him. They'd do anything in the world for him. They want him to succeed. But the odds are 95 to 5 they haven't got the answers he needs if he's to reach fulfillment as a human being, if he's to reach this success that he wants, if he's to reach into these deep reservoirs of ability and genius we know he possesses and draw it out. Well, he starts in school. The most important thing to a little boy in school is to be liked by the other little boys in school. And so at this tender age, he begins to follow other little boys his same age who don't know any more than he knows and who do not necessarily have any capacity for leadership. And he does this in the first grade, and the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth, and the seventh, and the eighth, and year after year after year, he forms himself into a composite average of other little boys his age, trying to be like them, trying to do the only thing in the world that's impossible for a human being to do, which is to be like somebody else. Now, let's say he goes all the way through school, Usually goes in the military service. Again, he's caught in a vice-like grip of conformity. Now, let's say he's 25 years old, out of school, out of service. What's he going to do? As a rule, he'll go back to his hometown, unless he's married, in which case he'll go to his wife's hometown. But let's say he goes back to his own hometown. He's single. He doesn't know quite what to do. He's standing on a corner one morning, and a friend that he knew in school comes up and says, "Hi there, Charlie, what are you doing?" He says, "Nothing." He said, "Why don't you come down and work where I work? It's a pretty good place. The pay's regular. We got all kinds of fringe benefits and so on." And so he does. The odds are about, again, 95 to 5, that his first job is taken as a result of random application. On the job, without thinking about it, the most natural thing in the world for him to do is to look around, see how the other guys are doing their job, and to begin doing his the same way, assuming that what is normal for them is normal for him. No reason for this. He doesn't think about it. He just does it. Now, he has stretching in front of him 50 years or more in the golden age that man has been dreaming of since the days of ancient Greece. What's he going to do with these 50 golden years? Well, let's take a close look at him. We know that he works 40 hours a week, as a rule. 40 hours a week, which leaves him 72 hours a week when he's neither working nor sleeping. 72 free, discretionary hours each week to do with as he pleases. Now, at this point, of course, he's married. He has his little house and his little car. And this is about what he does with his free 72 hours every week. He'll do what the other fellows are doing with their free 72 hours every week, which is virtually nothing at all. On a typical day, he'll quit right on the dot, get in his little car, go to his little house, go in his little kitchen, kiss his little wife, and say, "I'm tired." They've even figured out why he says that. The experts believe that he used to hear his father say that back when men used to get tired working during the day, and he picked it up and he repeats this every night when he gets home. He bolts his little meal and then heads for the living room where he turns on his escape box. Click. Takes 15 or 20 seconds for the screen to light up, a period of time he finds interminable, but he gets through it somehow. Maybe kicks the dog, a thumb through a magazine or something. But then the screen lights up and he does too a little bit, and there in front of him he sees people in all kinds of funny old-time costumes, all killing each other at a great rate. One expert has agreed that the average family can see more death and bloodshed and carnage on his television set in a week than Crassus saw when he crucified 6,000 prisoners on the southern road to Rome. But you know how those experts are. He could certainly be off one or two. But he sits there for about 5.5 or 6 hours. 25% of all free time now is spent in front of the tube, according to the latest statistics. Now, there's nothing wrong with this particularly, except that he's watching other people who are earning excellent incomes in the pursuit of their careers, while he doesn't make a nickel. And gets the only two things you can get from watching TV on that kind of a schedule. He gets red eyes and a hollow head. Now, this is not meant to be an indictment of television. I've got a couple of television sets at home, too. I have a couple of cars at home, too, but I don't go home at night and drive around the block for 6 hours. If there's someplace I want to go, fine. My car will take me there. If there's a great program, like a golf match or something like that, I want to see it. But he sits there for 6.5 hours until finally his wife, who's a little more practical than he is, catches him on the shoulder, and she says, "Charlie, I think it's about time you went to bed. You've got to get up in the morning, go to work." He's okay, and he shuts it off. He knows how to do that. He just shuts it off and goes to bed. Next morning he gets up and he does this all over again. He does this every day for 40 years. At the end of 40 years, he's retired, which always kind of catches him by surprise. No one's ever figured that one out either. And then he dies at 85 or 90, the way medical science is moving us along, out of sheer boredom. Well, what's the problem? Is there a tragedy here? Not really, if that's the way Charlie wants to spend his life, our mythical, hypothetical young man. If he wants to spend his life that way, that's his business. He lives in a free society, he can do anything with it he wants. But there's a terrible tragedy here if he's living that way because of the total lack of a decision. If he's living that way simply because he's still doing what he was doing in the first and second grade, and that's going along with the fellows up and down the block on the unspoken assumption that they know how to live, then there's a real tragedy there. Because they've never known how to live. Not in all the recorded history of mankind. He never finds out who he is. He never reaches into the deep depths of his abilities, his talents. He never learns that he can have just about anything he wants in the world, that he can call his own shots, tell his own fortune. And it's kind of a pity. Well, what's needed? Well, what's needed, I think, is a checklist, like an airplane pilot uses. I think that living successfully is as important as flying an airplane. And here are some of the things that I think should be on that checklist that could help this man live a more meaningful, more interesting, more exciting, more enjoyable life. The first thing that he ought to have on his checklist, in my opinion, is the word a goal. A man without a goal is like a ship without a rudder. He doesn't know where he's going. He then belongs to that 95% that are just living day by day, month after month, like a starfish or an amoeba. He needs to know where he's going. Back in the early days of navigation, sailors used to see a strange sight in the Antarctic. They'd see a giant iceberg towering high out of the sea, and it would be moving against the wind. The wind would be blowing this way. The great iceberg would be moving right into the teeth of the wind. And this, of course, frightened the sailors whose ships were powered by the wind, until it was discovered that, of course, only a fraction of the great berg was visible, and that its huge, ponderous roots were caught in the great currents of the ocean. And it was being borne purposely along its way, regardless of the winds and the tides on the surface. Well, this is what a man needs. He needs his roots deep in a great main stream of his own choosing. And then he'll move along his way, regardless of the winds on the surface of his life or short-term expediency, and he'll get to where he's going. The second word on our checklist might be the word attitude. It's been called the most important word in any language in the world, because it's our attitude toward our world, toward all the people in it, that will determine the world's attitude and all the people's attitude toward us. It's a simple thing. Most of us know it, but we tend to forget it. People will react to us according to our attitude. And our attitude is the greatest gift we can be given. You know, the little creatures of the world were given a wonderful gift by Mother Nature called protective coloring, in which they can blend into their background without being seen. But man was not given this great gift, because man was given an incalculably greater one. Only man has the godlike power to make his surroundings change to fit him, because his environment will change as he changes. A man's environment is a merciless mirror of him as a human being. And if he thinks his environment can stand a little improvement, all he has to do is improve, and his environment will improve to reflect the changing man. Third would be the word think. To think, the highest function of which a human being is capable. It was put pretty well by the great Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright Archibald MacLeish in his great play, The Secret of Freedom, in which he has one of his characters say, "The only thing about a man that is a man is his mind. Everything else you can find in a pig or a horse." It's true. And so if we're going to develop something, this is a good place to start. To think deliberately and with a purpose. To spend a little time each day before a blank sheet of paper with our goal perhaps written at the top, and come up with some fresh, new, and exciting ideas. The next point on our checklist you might call the law of laws. That's what Emerson called it, this great old law of cause and effect. That our rewards in life will always be in exact proportion to our contribution, to our service. We all know this, really. We tell our children in Sunday school that as ye sow, so shall ye reap, but we forget that that's true. If a man is unhappy with his rewards, all in the world he's got to do is find ways of increasing his contribution, his service. It's like the story of the preacher who was driving down a country road, and all of a sudden he came to the most magnificent farm he'd ever seen in his life. It was beautiful. And so he saw the farmer approaching the road on his tractor, and so he hailed him, and he said, "My good man," he said, "God has certainly blessed you with a magnificent farm." And the farmer thought for a moment, and he said, "Yes, you're right, he certainly has. But you should have seen this place when he had it all to himself." And the preacher had his sermon for the next Sunday. He realized that all the farmers up and down that road had been given the same land, but one man had made something great out of it. Well, all of us are given the same land. We're given a human life, and each of us can make something great out of it, too, if we want to. The next point might be simply the word truth. Since everything we do has an equal and opposite reaction, unless what we're doing is based on truth, we're building on sand, and it can't stand. The next point would be R&D, research and development. None of us would want to work for a company or invest our money in a company that didn't have a very viable research and development department. That is, pumping a good percentage of its profits back into research and development because its future depends on it. But so does a man's. And you might ask yourself, how much of your own take-home pay have you spent during the past year for materials calculated to make you smarter this year than you were a year before? Calculated to make you a little better, a little bigger as a human being, to perhaps love a little more and hate a little less and do a little better job than you did a year ago. How much money are you pumping back into yourself and your future? It's worth thinking about. And finally, the strangest secret. At the beginning, I said, what makes a child grow up into the human being he becomes? Well, this is the reason for that. Of course, he's the confluence of a genetic pool that goes back for thousands and thousands of years. His environment has an influence on him, of course. But what makes him become the person he becomes is that he becomes what he thinks about most of the time. It's as simple as that. We become what we think about most of the time. And that's the strangest secret. This is why thinking is so vital. This is why a goal is so important. Because we will become that. This is why people who set goals achieve them. The trouble with men is not in achieving their goals. They do that. It's in establishing them. Well, that's about it. I think it's good to remember that if we just go along with the crowd, we won't wind up with much more than the wish that we could do it all over again, and as far as we know, you can't. If we want to amount to anything as individuals, we need individual goals, individual thinking, individual actions, and we must never conform to the big group. We must love them, we must help them, we must serve them, because our whole success will depend on our ability to do these things. But never lose our own individuality and our identity by permitting ourselves to become submerged in what has historically proved itself to be little more than a suffocating sea of indirection and purposelessness. If we want to emulate someone, fine, but let's be choosy in whose steps we follow. It's the only life we've got. And remember to think. Imagination is everything, and we can become what we can imagine. If you find yourself getting depressed and down at the mouth, as we all get once in a while, you might want to remember this quotation by Dean Briggs. He said, "Do your work. Not just your work and no more, but a little more for the lavishing's sake. That little more which is worth all the rest. And if you suffer as you must, and if you doubt as you must, do your work. Put your heart into it, and the sky will clear. And then out of your very doubt and suffering will be born the supreme joy of life." Believe it or not, in an age when we've come to nearly deify leisure time, we've almost lost sight of the fact that virtually all our satisfactions, rewards, will come not from our leisure, but from our work. And don't forget the strangest secret. We become what we think about.
That is the strangest secret, ladies and gentlemen. And the strangest secret is you become what you think about most of the time. And that's why us as Bitcoiners are so obsessed with Bitcoin, because we have become that. We think about it all the time. And that's why we're here today on a Sunday with these lovely people. And I really, really appreciate you guys coming in. And I love each and every one of you. What is up, guys? It is Sunday, August 31st, the last day of August 2025. We're at the Bitcoin block height of 912,603. TikTok next block. Let's welcome everybody in here. Jay Remmer is in the house. Jay Remmer, how are you, sir? Boy, you've been first lately, man. You've been first. Good to see you, sir. Very good to see you. Our hourly buy just went through. We got 916 sats for $1, ladies and gentlemen. The deal of the life of a lifetime, man. Deal of a lifetime. Jay Remmer, welcome in, brother. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everyone. Thank you, Jay Remmer. I appreciate that very much, sir. Very much. Hi, Jerry. Hi, all. Samantha Nakamoto, first of her name, daughter of the great Satoshi Nakamoto. The reason we're all here. Samantha, welcome in, man. Good to see you. How are you? Let's go. Jack, what's up, brother? Good to see you, man. I got you on the wheel. How are you today? Welcome back, man. IP Config says, I got my popcorn ready. What's up, brother? Good to see you on this Sunday, man. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you, man. S. Stush says, hi, I'm back. Hey, man. Welcome back in. How are you? How are you? Megalomedia says, what up, though? What's up, though, Megalomedia? How are you, man? Good to see you. Welcome back in, man. What's up, gang? What's up? Lawrence Stern says, hello, everyone. What's up, brother? Lawrence Stern. My man. No relation to David or Howard. One of our comedians here. Good to see you, brother. Eating dinner and listening. Got you, man. Good to see you, brother. Joey from SAS Venture. So early in the morning. Oath, yes. Monday morning, right? Joey, good to see you, man. Joey, are you staying? Do you want me to put you on the wheel? Oh, look at this. Jenny sent a zap in today. At 4:35 a.m. our time. She sent in a zap, a Jenny zap. Look at that. Jenny sent in a zap at 4:35 my time. And that's like 6:35 her time. So she must have went back in time and watched one of the lives. Thank you, Jenny. Appreciate that. Good morning, Joey. Let's get it, fam. Damn right, brother. Let's get it. I pray for a last-minute pump on the candle close. Do you? I don't pray for any prices to go up, sir. Hello, Jay Remmer. Yes. Hey, Jack. What's up? Hello, IP Config. Hello, Jen. Yeah. What we're going to do today, guys, is Bitcoin Mechanic just dropped a video right before I came on live, and we're going to watch it. And it's called Here's How Core 30 Ends Bitcoin. And that's why I named the video what I named it. Will Bitcoin Core destroy Bitcoin? And we're going to react to some of that. And I'm very interested what this man has to say. Bitcoin Mechanic has been doing a lot of God's work, man, for Bitcoin. And this stuff is serious, man. If we're gonna be here and talking about Bitcoin and stuff like that, we can't ignore this stuff, man. You know what I mean? We gotta educate ourselves at the base layer, and we gotta protect this monetary system at all costs, man. Because if we're doing all this and we're putting all our savings and time into it, and we can't figure out what's going on the base layer, then why are we here? Benjamin, hey Jerry, I'm new. My friend told me about you on Discord. Okay, Benjamin, how are you, man? Good to see you. Where you from, sir? Are you a Bitcoiner yourself? Benjamin. Is that how you spell it? Benjamin. Good to see you, man. Where you from, sir? Welcome, Benjamin. Yes. Good to have you in, man. We're just chilling on a Sunday, man. We're just going to take it easy. Nothing wild and crazy, but we are going to react to Bitcoin Mechanic. And of course, I'm going to give you my commentary through it. And I'm looking forward to watching this. Because again, if I wasn't doing this live stream, I would just be watching it. So I figured, why not? Why not watch it with my boys? Boy, from Idaho with love, bro. Hey, man, I remember you telling me that. You know what? I got you on the map, don't I, Jack? Yeah, I do. I think I do. Let me see. Do I get this updated? No, I don't. I gotta go to the thing and get it. Oh, great now. Okay. But yeah, man, it's good to see you, Jack. Maddie says, hey, everyone. Maddie, how are you? Good to see you, Maddie. Put you on the wheel, young lady. Welcome in. Good to see you, Maddie, on this Sunday. Angel, #1 Jerry fan. What's up, young man? Good to see you, sir. How are you? Angel, #1 Jerry fan. I love that name, man. Thank you. Appreciate that, bro. I'll put Coco up here, Maddie. Good to see you too. How you doing? I'm good, man. How are you? Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. I'm doing pretty good, man. Thank you. Backpack family is from Idaho as well, correct? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Who's the hoe though? Is it me or no? Idaho? Nah, maybe we the hoe? You the hoe? I don't know. Amos, let me get on the wheel, coach. Amos, what's up, bro? How are you, man? Good to see you. And it's a Sunday today, but as we go into this week, because we're fighters here in the Bitcoiners for Freedom group. So, and we need to know and educate what we're fighting for. And it's one thing for us to be fighting against this system, this corrupt, crooked, evil system that we always talk about every single day. And you guys know exactly what system I'm talking about. This one right here. What we need to do also, because again, sometimes our enemies are not from the outside like these are. They're from within. You know what I mean? Yep. Hi, BTC Backpacker, Lauren Stern. Yes. Hey there, Samantha Nakamoto. BFF family. Yeah, what's up, bro? Let me put you on the wheel, man. How are you? Good to see you. Benjamin, by the way, are you a subscriber, sir? Have you subscribed to the channel? Looks like you have. And are you a Bitcoiner? Let me know. Please and thank you. But in order for us to defeat, because again, we have a lot of enemies to fight here, guys. Obviously, we got to fight this garbage right here, this nonsense. But again, what's the best way? And I was telling people this in 2022, 2023, 2024. From an American standpoint, right? What's the best way to defeat America? Because we have two enemies in America as an American citizen, right? We have foreign or international enemies, and then we have domestic enemies, right? And the best way to beat America, I believe, is you can't attack us from the outside. You have to attack us within. And that's why they, in 2021, the you know what administration let the illegals come in here and try to destroy our country from within. Because again, geographically speaking, we're one of the most impenetrable countries in the world, right? Because we got the Pacific, we got the Atlantic on the left or right of us, east and west of us, and then north and south of us, we got Canada and Mexico, respectively. Hello, Amos CBT. Lauren, how's it going, bro? Hey, Maddie and Angel, #1 Jerry fan. Yes, I am a Bitcoin. I am really new, really new. It's nearly like a month, to be honest. Still learning. Okay, cool. Benjamin, do me a favor, man. Because I got your name here on the wheel. If it lands on your name, you're going to get 100 Satoshis. If you haven't already, you said you're from the Discord. Are you from the Speed Wallet Discord? Do you have a Speed Wallet? Because that's how I pay out with Speed Wallet. Let me know. And the best way to destroy America is not from attacking it from the outside. You have to attack it from within the borders, and that's what they did. That's what a certain side of the aisle did, and a certain group of people did. Well, I'm thinking the same thing about Bitcoin. You know what I mean? There's no way to stop Bitcoin. You know, of course, we have a lot of external enemies in Bitcoin, but again, you can't destroy a protocol, right? You just can't. So if you were an evil genius and said, how can I destroy Bitcoin? Well, you got to destroy it from within, aka people that quote unquote run certain things in Bitcoin, like Bitcoin Core. And Bitcoin Core is literally like the core of and the essence of what Bitcoin used to stand for, right? Their software is what the nodes are run on, right? And what is a node? Node is just a whole blockchain downloaded, and we verify all transactions if you're a node runner, right? From the mempool. And again, there's not one mempool or several mempools. And anything outside of monetary transactions, aka Satoshi's going on to the blockchain, that's spam, right? So if you put a bunch of spam in the blockchain, I'm not saying it's going to blow up Bitcoin, but what would it do? It would decentivize people from using Bitcoin as a monetary network, right? And we need to know that, and we need to stop that shit, man. And I mean, yes, I'm from the Speed Discord. My account is okay. Let me put you in my black book, sir. Thank you. We need to know it. Now, again, is this a real big threat? It depends. You know, if we let little things go, then we'll let big things go, and little things turn into big things, right? It's almost like let's say you're driving a car, right? I'll give you an example. You're driving a car, and let's just say your car is not on a road. Let's just say it's an open road, not an open road, but like a desert or something where there's no lanes or nothing like that. And let's say you just kept the steering wheel straight, but your car's alignment was off just a tiny micro fraction, and it's just going to turn right slowly, right? It's almost like that boiling a frog in the boiling the frog theory. When you boil it really, really slow. Well, I think that's what Bitcoin Core is trying to do. They're trying to do certain little things slowly and cook us slowly and turn us slowly. Because eventually, if you're doing this and you're driving and you're slowly moving to the right, you can't feel it all at once. But those small little micro movements of going to the right, you won't feel it, but you are moving to the right. And you're getting off the path, quote unquote. And I believe that's what Bitcoin Core is trying to do. They're trying to get us off the path of what? Separating money and state. And that's what we're here for, right? I'm here for that. And I'm very interested to see what Bitcoin Mechanic has to say about this, because again, the new update is going to drop here in a few months. Or actually this month, I think it is. In for Bitcoin Core 30. And we're going to go through that, man. Just hold your savings, Banshee. It's not hard. Yep. Exactly. And fight for the base layer and fight for the network. Benjamin. Okay. Is it Benjamin with an E or Benjamin with an A? Benjamin, with your name. Because I see you wrote it as an E, but did they autocorrect that or what? I'm surprised they let you put that in there too. Benji Mun at speed dot app. Just hold your savings. It's not hard. Yep. Benjamin, feel free to sit back and learn and jump in and ask questions anytime. We are a welcome family. That's right, brother. That's right. Got that speed wallet. Yep. Okay, good stuff. Bro, put a shirt on. Sure. I don't know, man. Your girl likes when I don't have shirts on, man. So, there's that, anonymous. How you doing, Jerry? Hey, Dean, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? Welcome in on a Monday morning for you. Good to see you, brother. Anon is so brave, isn't he, man? LOL. Yeah. I like trolls though. I got anonymous on the wheel, but this ain't the anonymous that we all know and love. I believe. I think he's just a troll or something. But I like trolls because I can troll too. He can type words, but I can say them. So I have a little bit of an advantage over anonymous. But yeah, again, we're already trying to separate money and state and break this system with our new and beloved Bitcoin system that's only 16 years old, 16 and a half years old. So again, we must stand up to the people with that we're fighting against with a knee. Okay, got you. I'm a good troll myself. Yeah, if I do say so myself, I'm okay. Well, Jack, I'm gonna need your help then, man. If you're a good troll, all right. If the trolls come in, we gotta. I'm gonna put you on the troll patrol. How about that? But yeah, slight movements again that are not seen. Just because they're not seen or felt, they will hurt you in the long run. You know what I mean? So, but right now, guys, we're cruising. We're at $109,020, and that's okay. But the most important thing is, guys, for $1, you can get yourself 917 satoshis. And yes, I said it, for $1. You can't beat that, man. You cannot beat that, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the deal of the century. And we're gonna do our thing. So I'm going to, before I spin the wheel, I'm gonna watch a little bit of this, and we're gonna get into it. And the title of this video is here's how Core 30 ends Bitcoin. So without further ado, let's listen in.
Let's talk about responsibility, because it can't be avoided, and people act like it can be. You need to understand what you're doing when you run a node on the Bitcoin network, because in no circumstances do you get to participate in horrible, immoral activity and absolve yourself of any responsibility if the tools were available for you to reject doing so and to walk away from doing so. This isn't an obligation I'm placing on you. It's an obligation that you have, that you need to be aware that you have, and that you're going to suffer if you don't.
Yes, that's facts. I couldn't agree more. Again, LOL Cabron, I got you on the wheel, brother. Again, we're coming across a time where Bitcoin is new. It is not adopted yet, and it's just a shiny new toy, and nobody knows what it is. And we're in this weird, clunky, unseen waters that we're going through a paradigm shift, whether we want to admit that or not. And fortunately and unfortunately, we are here as the kind of like pioneers. Jerry, I didn't receive the sats from Fat Zap Friday. Huh? Let me see. From Friday? Yeah. What block was it, y'all? Because I have them all written down here, and I don't have your name on here, brother. So I might have wrote it down wrong. But I have blocks from. I started at 307 and went all the way to 344. And I'm looking here, and I don't see you on here. And then also, tell me what block it was, and then also the all or nothing game. You didn't win that either, according to my notes. So tell me, just go back and watch and tell me what block it was, okay? But this is what we're going through. We're going through a paradigm shift that we are trying to use a new system that is a baby compared to the one we're in now. This one's been here since 1913, 122 years, 112 years, excuse me. And there's responsibility that comes with being a new person and a pioneer of a new money. We're in the accumulation phase. Imagine when we hit hyper Bitcoinization. Yes, exactly. But as Bitcoiners and as the base layer, I don't know, protectors, if you will, Dean, we still have to understand what we're doing. Now, some people are just not going to get in the fight. They're just going to, like you said, Dean, they're just going to buy and hold or whatever. But if you're putting all your savings in, again, nobody's asking you to be a mining expert or a node expert or a technical expert or whatever expert. But we do, have an incentive to learn what's going on here. And we do have a responsibility to protect not only our personal savings, but the savings and the monetary network of the future. And that's what he's talking about right now. Okay, no doubt, brother.
This is just a universal rule of how stuff works, and everyone knows it, and everyone acts that way all the time. I'm not getting into religion because it's going to alienate people from something that is just true that no one can deny. And I have to use some disgusting examples in this video because this is what it all comes down to.
Got somebody new here, Crypto Mania guy. Hey, how you doing, sir? Hello, first day here. My boy told me about you. I think he might be in the chat already. I am from Speed. Okay, man. Good to see you, man. How are you? There you are. Yes, I'm here. All right. Welcome in, man. Did you hit the subscribe button? In order to win sats, you gotta do four things, sir. You gotta be a subscriber. You gotta hit that like button. I don't know if you did. 3, you gotta have a speed wallet, which you already have. And also, when the wheel lands on your name, you got to be here and be present. Okay. And then you'll receive your sats later on tonight. So welcome in, Crypto Mania guy. Let me put you on the wheel, sir. Welcome in, man. I do a show. I do a live every day, Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. So Mania guy. Right now, we're just chilling on a Sunday. This is kind of like my relaxing day. And we're going to learn about what. Thank you, man. I see that. Thank you. There you are. Yes, I am here. Yes. Cryptomania guy. Yep. And that is for learning about what's going on with Bitcoin and stuff like that. And we're going to do that today at the Bitcoin base layer of why Bitcoin Core may be the end of Bitcoin, the new update. We're listening to Bitcoin Mechanic right now, sir.
And I've been very philosophical up until this point. I've spoken about cultural subversion and shifting things, and I've mentioned the fact that Vitalik came along and wanted to build Ethereum, and the devs said, no, we're not changing data carrier size to accommodate you. And then all of the Ethereum drama happened over on its own network rather than Bitcoin. Can you imagine if the nightmare of Ethereum occurred on Bitcoin itself and we had to...
Yeah, I need your speed address so I can put it in my black book, and then I'll pay you tonight, brother. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
To deal with that since 2015, 2016 would have been horrible. But this is much more severe than that. This is a much deeper struggle. And it comes down to the fact that people ultimately, for the right reasons, do not want to participate in disgusting activity knowingly. Everyone knows that there's going to be unforeseen consequences of things that they do that aren't anything to do with their intentions, and they absolve themselves of the blame and guilt if they took reasonable countermeasures that were available to them. They're not going to beat themselves up about sometimes bad stuff just happens. No one's going to beat themselves up about that, but they need to know that they have made a decent effort at the end of the day not to do despicable things. Let's talk about what your Bitcoin node actually does. Your Bitcoin node naively is connecting in a new way to a network that operates in a way that makes use of the internet in a way that no one is used to doing anymore. Everyone uses the internet in a curated capacity. You go on websites run by other people that are all doxed, that are all made responsible for the behavior they're doing and participating in. You can go on websites like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and a million other websites that are run by regulated companies that know they are going to be held responsible for the content on those websites. The internet is a wild, wild west, but you're always looking at it through the various filters of people acting in a way where they don't want to get held accountable for awful things being published.
Facts. Emily, the beautiful one. How are you, Emily? We're listening to Bitcoin Mechanic, Emily, talk about, basically here's how Core 30 ends Bitcoin. So we're watching that, and we're going to react to it, and we're going to talk about it. But it's good to see you, Emily. How are you today, man? We're still going to be spinning the wheel, too. I'm going to put you on the wheel now. Emily, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming back in.
And we're just talking about data here. It's all just data, and all data wants to be free, and the internet treats censorship as damage and routes around it and all that. But not exactly. There's a reason you don't go on Twitter, and I'm going to refer to the world's most obvious and disgusting example of how horrible data can be, right? And it's pornography of people not of the age of consent, right? I'm going to refer to that as CP throughout the rest of this video because I'd like people to actually see it, and I don't want to trigger the algorithms that are rightly there in YouTube in the first place. And that ironically proves the whole point of what I'm talking about here. You're used to it being YouTube's responsibility to moderate content and make it so that you don't accidentally have to start doing that stuff yourself.
I actually like this example he's using. I like this. You know what I mean? Because you do want filters. You know what I mean? You do want to be filtered out. I don't want to go to YouTube, type in something, and then something crazy comes up on my stuff, especially with my grandson here. So I like where he's going here. I do. Well, this show seems interesting. Also, my wallet is BTC Man 7. Thanks, dude. No doubt, bro. Appreciate it, man. This is just my chill day. We have a lot of fun here, brother. A lot of fun, Cryptomania guy. So, Cryptomania guy. Welcome in, man. I'm glad you came, brother. Be prepared to have a lot of fun, sir. That's all I'm going to say about that Cryptomania guy. It's BTC Man at speed.app. Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Samantha says, hi, Emily. Happy Sunday, Samantha. Yes.
I don't care if I go on websites like YouTube and Twitter and stuff like that. I have a reasonable expectation that I'm not going to see that kind of disgusting stuff because someone else has taken it upon themselves to make sure it's not there. Now, these guys have safe harbor provisioning, which means it can accidentally end up there, and they are given that safe harbor provision as a big data platform only on the condition that they engage in a best effort basis to get rid of that stuff. Are you following me so far? So CP can end up on Facebook, it can end up on Twitter, but the people that run those companies are allowed to continue doing so and allow user-provided content, assuming on a best effort basis they continue trying to remove that stuff. And they demonstrably do, and they have to be able to prove that their intention is not to facilitate the distribution of that kind of content. It's a very important understanding because this is not a video about libertarianism versus statism or anything like that. It's just a video about personal responsibility, and the law does widely work in a way that's congruent with that. If you are doing something irresponsible and you are knowingly distributing CP as a platform like Facebook and Twitter, you're going to get shut down by an immoral entity such as the state, but the state is acting on the premise that you are knowingly doing this stuff, and they're not wrong to assert that.
Yeah. Yes, Lauren, you hit a good point, Jerry. We want filters, the benefits of knots. Yes, exactly. And that's his point. If I go to do a certain thing, I don't want something else in there when I'm trying to do a certain thing. Right? That's like me saying, okay, because I use YouTube every day. You guys use YouTube every day. Do you want to see a bunch of BS popping up on there? No, you don't. You don't. You know what I mean? Do you want to, you go to YouTube for a certain thing, right? That's what you go there for. Or whatever you use, you do it for a certain thing. You don't want a bunch of spam and a bunch of stuff that, again, that is not that thing that you want that thing to do for you, right? Anything else outside of that is a spam. It just is. This guy's right. Yes. And again, common sense is not common. These Bitcoin core developers sound like Democrat politicians to me sometimes. You know what I mean? It's just like there's no common sense. Rod, what's up, brother? Good to have you back, man. How are you?
If you are running some CP distributing media platform, knowingly doing that, and you get shut down, no one's going to have an ethical problem with that. They might have an ethical issue with the way it was enforced because it was done by the authorities and they're corrupt in their own way. But the fact that you weren't taking responsibility for your own actions is not good enough. And no one raised right, no human being I would ever interact with in my day-to-day life is going to deny that they have responsibility for their own actions. So what's going on with your Bitcoin node? Your Bitcoin node gets to operate freely because it's engaged in monetary activity, and never in our standards of what we've established as acceptable behavior is historical records of atrocities being a thing that a person is responsible not to utter into existence. The example I mean of that is monetary activity can reflect underlying evil activity, but it's removed from it. If someone engages in financing of something immoral, right? I'm not get out of the like eye rolling and dismissing of like false flags and psyops versus genuine evil activity by people that want to commit mass killings. And talk about the financing for that stuff, right? If someone sends $100,000 or $100 million to some organization that wants to stick a weapon somewhere that is responsible for the deaths of millions of people, I'm using vague terms here so as not to trigger the algos, but you know what I'm referring to. And you can say, oh, that's all a psyop, it's all really the CIA or whatever. That's not the point. The point is, if someone is financing that kind of stuff, human trafficking, whatever you want to talk about, you making a note of the historical record of that financial activity does not implicate you. It doesn't implicate a journalist if they say this guy sent that much money to this terrible person to do that terrible activity. You're just documenting it. You're part of the ledger, the historical record of something that happened. You're not implicated in the actual crime. Neither is the financial network for the most part.
What's up, brother? Yo, you should play Gen Z BT newest video. It's really well put. Yeah, I might play that this week. Solar Satoshis, how you doing, man? Welcome back in, bro. I like him, man. He's a cool kid. He's actually one of my neighbors. He doesn't live too far from me. He's here in Vegas with me. How are you? I'm currently looking into getting a node. Not sure what kind I'll get, but definitely going to be running knots for sure. No doubt, man. I would suggest if you got the dough, man, you know, because this is going to be something you're going to have for many, many years. And I have it myself. I have the Start 9 one, and I got the 4 terabyte one, and I like it, man. It works very, very well. It's top of the line, man. You can't server 1. You can't go wrong with that one, bro. It ain't cheap though, but can't go wrong with that. Hey, Solar, hi, Solar. Jerry has to screen the links for LOL. Great, happy Sunday, Jerry and the Freedom Fam. What's up, Greg? Philly. How are you, brother? Good to see you, man. We're about to do a spin here, guys, just to break it up a little bit. Greg, Philly. All right. Same here, Rod. I am looked at Star 9. Yeah, I mean, you know, I had the Bitcoin Way, that companies helped me set it up in 2023, and I asked them what's the best one. They hands down is the Start 9. Server 1, 4 terabyte, because you have to download the whole blockchain, and that's what I did, and I got that one. It's many uses with that as well. Hello, Greg. Doing wonderful. Happy to be here. Currently on my way to a rural town in Idaho to help my friend build his house. Okay. Everybody's in Idaho. Idaho or I'm no. Happy Sunday, Greg. Hi, Lauren, Emily. Hope y'all's weekend is going great. Yes. Where's my boy Trent at, man? Anybody seen Trent? Backpacker and fanny packer? Look at that. Let me share. Copy. Gotta have Trent here, man. We're live, Trent. Okay. Oh, there he is. You too, Greg. Idaho, Baka Baka. Okay, I'm hiding. Satman says. Satman, what's up, brother? Well, I was looking for Trent though, man. Satman, how are you? Satman, would you like me to put you on the wheel, sir? He's busy fighting crime. Yes. What's up, Satman? Short man. Fanny backpacker, BTC backer, and kids love you all. Yes. Hide your woman. Yes. Hide your women. Yes. Absolutely. Do not bring your girl around Zatman. That's for damn sure. Thank you. All right, we're gonna do a spin here. Waiting for Jenny to come in, but because she sent me some sats, I wanted to say thank you. But again, guys, today is Sunday, August 31st, the last day of the month. So I made a video, a Satoshi Saturday video, talking about September is going to be a September to remember. And I think this is the time to really grab as many sats as you can this month. And you can start by, how are you, Trent? Start by being here and getting some free sats. And what we do here, guys, is every time a block is mined, because again, we celebrate the miners And our blockchain, our beloved blockchain, our very, very scarce room in this blockchain just for money and not spam and bullshit. Every time a block comes out when we're in a live, we're going to do a spin, right? And we're going to start with this block right here, ladies and gentlemen, 912,603. But from now on, I'm going to use the last three numbers. So the first block I'm going to spin is 603. And there is a block subsidy for every time a block is mined, and it's 3.125 Bitcoin. But our subsidy, our wheel spin subsidy, is 100 cents. So we're going to spin the first one at 603. Thank you guys for coming in on this Sunday, August 31st, 2025. Thank you, and let's spin it, and let's see who can win it. Trent took Jen, yes. I'm good, Lauren. Just a lazy day. Nah, Statman lazy can be good once in a while. Yeah. Well, no disrespect, Satman. We were asking about Trent though, sir. Would you like me to put you on the wheel, Satman? Yeah. Congratulations, brother. Congrats. Thank you, sir. Yeah, are you here? Or are you trying to look back to see if you're missing some sats? Let's spin it again. I'll give him a few minutes. 604. Y'all always wins, yeah. Benjamin, the new guy. Got to be here though, man. Got to be here. Hi, y'all. Congrats. Yes. You got to sound off, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Jerry. No doubt, y'all. Benji, love ya. Yes. Congratulations, brother. Congrats, Ben. Yep. Almost right back to you, y'all. Yeah. Wow, no way. Yeah, just got here too. Look at that. Benjamin. Now what I'm gonna do is this is your first time winning. So when somebody first wins, I gotta make sure your wallet works. So we're gonna send that to you right now, sir. Copy. Send you some generational wealth. A piece of the hardest money in the world. Piece of the network. 100 units of the hardest money in the world. I'm going to send that to you right now. Let me see. Stripe. Send. Hold on, guys. 1 second. I don't have any sats in my speed wallet. App. 1,000. Okay. Congratulations, brother. Okay, now let me send you this 100. Ready, Benjamin? Let me know you got it, all right? Let me know you got it, sir. Congratulations. I'm here and I'm still looking, bro. Okay. Hey, Jay Remmer. First day and already a win. Yes. Everyone's happy to see Satman until he steals your girl. Yeah. Yeah, you're happy when he comes to save your girl, but he will steal her while he saves her. Hey, Jay Remmer. Congrats, Benjamin. Lucky. Yes. Congrats, Benjamin. Congrats, Benji. It's all about the Benjamins. Yes. Emily, Greg. Yep. Congrats, brother. You're the winner for block 604. Let's see who can win 605. Fanny. I know Fanny's here. I ain't even got to worry about that. Y'all chimed in. Yep, I saw him. Emily, gang, gang. Yes, sir. Wow, very cool. Thanks, bro. No doubt, man. I got them. Good, man. Good. Fanny, you're the winner for 605. Let's go back to the video and let's see what happens.
But that's monetary data. It's very specifically that. If I'm paying someone in an immoral capacity to do an immoral thing, no one cares about the tool I use to do it. It's not relevant. The payment network itself should remain neutral, and everyone accepts that, which is why you can naively, as a Bitcoin node, say, here's 1,000 Bitcoin transactions. I will store them. I will verify them all as valid, and that's really important, and I'm going to come back to that. And I'm going to ship them over to the next person. If some of those financial transactions I just naively let into my computer and processed as valid and passed on to the next node were representing horrible things like people paying for human trafficking or something like that, the crime is done by the human traffickers. We don't need to take it to the extent of I have to try and isolate which transactions are bad and filter on that basis, because that's too far. You're placing an expectation of people on people that is just not appropriate and not scalable, not sustainable. This is why Bitcoin has been fine and left alone, because you're doing something crazy that you've never done before. You are operating a peer-to-peer permissionless network where any random stranger can send files to you that you're going to have sitting on your computer and you're going to process in plain text because you have to verify that they're valid transactions. And I'm going to come back to that too, because that's really relevant. That is not a thing. That is not how people are used to using the internet other than Bitcoin. Running a Bitcoin node is a completely wild thing to do, because you're giving random strangers access to your computer and letting them transfer files to you and store them. If those files just contain history of monetary activity, it doesn't matter. You're not taking responsibility for what people are doing, because overall it's a net positive. You're allowing people to engage in a financial system that doesn't do the harm of what the fiat financial system does. And yes, some people are going to use that to engage in horrible activity. They're going to pay for stuff you wouldn't approve of. But you're not going to disprove of it by destroying the neutrality of a currency or a payment network, because that's over the top and no one is going to hold you responsible for having done that. I think it would be over the top to do that. And that's why I'm neutral with regards to money. Whereas financial activity being treated as all equal, whether how big or small it is or the nature of what it is you're doing, I'm fine with that. And I think most people are. Arbitrary data doesn't work the same way, because arbitrary data itself can be illicit. This is very different from monetary data. Monetary data can reflect illicit activity, but it isn't itself illicit. And this is what no one seems to have been able to figure out. And this is why I'm saying I've been overly philosophical up until this point. I've been talking about cultural subversion and changes in how we operate and how we act and what we expect of this thing. And we're trying to undermine it for this perfect use case, and we're making it do more things, and it's going to lead just kind of to nowhere the way crypto does. That's been my general message up until this point, because I've missed the point. The actual practical damage here that's being done specifically is the fact that arbitrary data itself might be something you just have to discriminate against depending on what it contains. So we're talking about CP again. I'm connecting up to a network that isn't curated at all. It's not run by a big data platform who is taking responsibility for the content that ends up on there. And if I see something disgusting on Twitter or Facebook or something, it's probably going to get taken down very soon. And no one is going to hold me responsible for having downloaded that, by virtue of just going on the website. My browser downloads everything on the web page, it renders it, and it's in my hard drive for a little bit. Fair enough, but I have plausible deniability there, not just from a legal perspective, from a moral perspective. I didn't mean to go on Twitter and view that disgusting image that managed to pass, get through all their checks and balances. I didn't mean to. I do not consider myself responsible for things slipping through the cracks. However, the tools exist for me when I run a Bitcoin node to say, you are sending me random things that are dressed up to look like Bitcoin transactions that are actually files, images, stuff I might not want to just randomly and naively store on my computer. And because those themselves can be illicit. And you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about JPEGs of CP ending up on my computer. I don't want to deal with that. I know that if someone is flooding the network with that stuff and I don't have spam filters anymore to be able to discriminate against it, that I'm now responsible for that. And if someone came to me and said, you're running a Bitcoin node, that means your hard drive is full of absolute degenerate filth at this point. Why are you doing that? And I don't get to go, oh, well, because spam filters don't work. When they do, spam filters are 100% successful at me keeping that crap off my computer. Ending up in the blockchain is a different story, and I'm going to get into the implications of that further down the line. But I have complete responsibility about what ends up on my drive by virtue of me having a mempool, by virtue of me being a node. And arbitrary data is different because itself, it can be illicit. It can be immoral stuff that you just don't want on your computer. I don't care if I have a genuine transaction that reflects activity I don't want, or I would never engage in myself, because it's too far for me to start discriminating against that. It isn't too far for me to discriminate against actual disgusting data that I don't want.
Facts. This is I know it's a Sunday, but this guy's preaching right now. He is absolutely preaching like a pastor, like a sermon. Jerry, I'm sure you'll love to hear that this, but we're a Knott's household now. Nice, Solar. Nice, brother. I do like to hear that, man. That's cool, brother. That's real cool. Good job on that, man. Okay, Jerry, I misspoke. My phone was lagging once it came online. You was adding my name, so it looked like I won. Oh, okay. No doubt, brother. No doubt. But hey, if I make a mistake, I'll pay you. It's no biggie, brother. It is no biggie. Thanks for pointing that out, yeah. That's what's up. Yeah. He's preaching right now, man. God moves in a mysterious way, doesn't it? Doesn't he? On a Sunday. I'm liking this approach. I'm liking how he's doing this. I'm really, really liking how he's doing this, man. And everybody needs to watch this video. You know what I mean?
And here's where the biting point lies in the current conversation, because everyone knows there's disgusting stuff in Bitcoin's blockchain. It's been uploaded before, but we're talking about plausible deniability here and genuine moral culpability for what you're participating in. And it comes down to obfuscation for the most part. The old stuff that was uploaded into the chain 13 or 14 years ago by malicious people that wanted to just harm everything, it's obfuscated beyond all measure. It's not going to trip anything. It's not going to set off a red flag that says, what are you doing? What is this sitting on your computer? If you're, a big entity with a bunch of protocols, that mean you have IT protocols where you have to analyze what goes on the computers of your employees and your organization in general. You are running stuff to do analysis on what's on your computer. None of this old stuff is going to trip that because it's so obfuscated. We're talking about images of illicit stuff that's spread out over tons of fake public keys using one of n multisig, where reassembling it all into the illicit activity is not something any forensics tool is going to just trivially do. So you have plausible deniability there. If you have a copy of the blockchain, big deal. Okay, there's some nasty stuff in it, but reassembling it takes specific intention to try and do, and it's obviously stuff that was hacking its way into the chain, pretending to look like transactions, similar to how inscriptions work. There's some disgusting stuff in inscriptions, but I don't run inscription software. I'm never going to reassemble it. I do filter inscriptions because I can, and I think it's morally correct, but it hasn't brought Bitcoin to its knees exactly. That has been the other point I've been making about cultural rot and all that. It hasn't really done that much damage because it's so obfuscated. You split it up into these 32-byte chunks that all have to be reassembled, because 32 bytes is impossible to put a graphic illicit image in something that small. You're like 16 by 16 pixels. There's nothing you can really show in that. So here's op return. Op return is a way to actually do it on a practical way, to store a massive serialized chunk of data, not separated, not in a way where it has to be reassembled. You're not talking about a page of Python code to try and interpret this image. You're talking about 6 lines just to knock off the first few bytes of the transaction. Then the rest of it is just data. And that can be a JPEG, and it can be a tiny MP4 or something like that, that will trip your antivirus or your forensic software or whatever it is into saying, you have this disgusting stuff on your drive. And it's a result of running a Bitcoin node. Now, the reason I'm saying this has never really been a problem before, even though it exists, is because of obfuscation. Op return stops things being anything like as obfuscated. The whole series of bytes is going to exist, in a serialized capacity. There's no breaking of it up into chunks that have to be manually reassembled. It's just there. The file is just there with a tiny bit at the beginning saying, this is an op return, which is like 0x6 or something. You just knock that off, and then you have a raw JPEG file. And that's there. And I'll make a point here because I really want this to be its own rant because of how significant it is, but I can't dance around it any longer because it's just relevant to this. The argument and pushback from the core devs has been everything's encrypted, so it doesn't matter. Firstly, Facebook don't get to use the defense when maintaining the safe harbor provisions that we used HTTPS. So when people went on our website and we sent them CP by mistake, it was encrypted in transit, so the ISP didn't pick up on it. That's not good enough. That doesn't absolve you of responsibility, and it doesn't in Bitcoin either. And here's the fun part. What's the first thing everyone says about these spam transactions? Is that they are valid transactions. That's the fun part, because that means my node needs to verify that they're valid. Otherwise, it needs to kick it out of the mempool so that it doesn't have the capacity to make an invalid block or relay invalid transactions. It's not going to do that. In processing it and making sure it's valid, I have to take it from encrypted to decrypted and store the entire file in RAM and process it on my computer in order to make sure it's a valid transaction. That's the point where you start tripping stuff, and you're telling the user of that Bitcoin node, if you're running the software that millions of people run, hey, there's CP on this computer. It's being accessed by this program, Bitcoin D. That's suddenly at that point, normal people are going to say running a node is gross. I don't want to do this anymore because you've crossed the line of plausible deniability. It wasn't sneaked into chunks, separated by push bytes and various opcodes that have to be exquisitely reassembled to try and recreate the whole thing. No, it's just there in serialized format. And the reason this was never a problem before is because op returns were limited to 80 bytes. And you can't do anything with 80 bytes except store a couple of hashes. No one cares about that. And no one cares if you have a hash that's part of a valid transaction of some illicit activity. It doesn't matter, and you don't have moral culpability for that. However, Core blowing that up to 100,000 bytes of sequential data that's just there, readily available, that you have to process in a decrypted format, just means you are now processing images of underage, of CP. You're just processing that on your computer, tripping stuff left, right, and center. And what do you do about that? You have a responsibility to say, I don't want to do this. Because never in any context would anyone ever say, hey, run this piece of software. Forget about Bitcoin completely. They're just saying, run this piece of software where you connect to random strangers who can send you 100 kilobyte files that, because of the way Bitcoin works, you can't leave encrypted. You have to decrypt them. So they're just there in raw format on your computer being processed, because you have to verify that they're part of a valid transaction in Bitcoin, making it even worse. You're connecting to random strangers who are sending you random files anonymously and storing them on your computer temporarily in your mempool. There is no way the human race that I know would say, I'm fine with doing that without any safeguards, which is what spam filters are. I'm just going to naively accept random strangers putting stuff on my computer. People are so used to the curated internet. You can go online, you go on all the social media sites, you go on everywhere else. Someone is working very hard to separate nasty stuff that can get them in trouble from relatively wholesome content. Yeah, you see a lot of horrible stuff on social media, but it's all legal, and it's all just part of the journalistic process for you to know about some of the horrible stuff that goes on in the world. Journalists are not responsible for the activity they're committing. However, some data is just filth that you have to discriminate against, and you don't want it stored on your computer. And everyone knows this. If someone gets caught with CP on their laptop, there's no asterisk there. They don't get to absolve themselves of moral culpability. Everyone is just done. That person has ruined their reputation for the rest of their life, and no one really has a problem with that. No one is going to defend them. Like, I've seen people attempt to make naive defenses of that, and they're the kind of people making these stupid arguments Adam Back is making, saying all data is equal, information wants to be free, information theory, the internet treats censorship as damage and roots around it. Not entirely.
That's a good question, Lauren. Is it working, guys? Is the like button working? There's 32 in here. He's preaching, man. He is preaching. I don't want to keep interrupting him. He's killing it right now. He's preaching, man. Let's see. We got 13 likes, and there's 33 watching. 20 of y'all are like, nah, I don't like it. Okay, 18 of y'all are saying I don't like it. 15 likes. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Only if you like it. You know what I mean? Only if you like it. The algos will kick in, man, and more people can watch the videos. You know what I mean? The like works, mention it more. The like works, mention it more. Yeah. He's preaching, man. Sunday pastor.
It's not censorship. It's people taking responsibility for what's on their own freaking computers. And you can't tell people they don't have that responsibility, because then you infantilize them and they don't get to have anything as wonderful as a free monetary network, because they can't take the responsibility of making sure it stays within the confines where freedom is acceptable. Freedom can only exist in certain contexts, and people don't understand the juxtaposition of boundaries and freedom. They are not self-contradictory. In fact, they are complementary. And when people take it too far and say freedom is the freedom to do anything whatsoever, then the context in which they enjoyed some freedom has now escaped its boundary and is now meaningless, and is going to be undermined by the fact that people can do nasty stuff. And it's the tiny minority of people, but they can ruin a public commons very quickly for everyone. 99% of people want it to be a park. One guy wants to shoot up heroin and take a dump in the middle of the place. He wins because he raced it to the bottom and he undermined everyone else's activity. Unless people take it on their responsibility for themselves to prevent that kind of thing from happening. So we haven't even got into what happens when it ends up in the blockchain anyway. But I'm going to save that for the end of the video.
All right, we're going to do another spin. Yes, based. Absolutely. Patty Irishman, how are you? Would you like to get on the wheel of Satoshi so I can spin it and see if you can win some sats? My beard is better, he says. Lord's Champion, what's up, brother? You want me to put you on the wheel so you can have a chance to win some Satoshis? Because I'm going to spin this wheel. Let me know. Waiting for confirmation. Nice. There's a few people in here, but it's been very quiet. We got 37 in here and 27 on the wheel. So we got some window shoppers. Put me on, Jerry. Ian, what's up, brother? My man Ian, how are you, sir? Put you right here. Put Trent up here. Trent's here too. Bitcoin Tech Nation. Ian, how are you, sir? I know you're working. How's the family? How's business? Did you make some good tips today, Ian? Good to see you, man. Always good to see you, bro. Clean your machine. We're reacting to Bitcoin Mechanic, man. So we're doing our thing. Hello, everybody. CYM, hello. Working hard. Good. Yeah, bro. What's good? Yeah, bro. What's Gucci? So Nas can't eliminate all the crap either, but can eliminate a lot more than Core is trying to. Yeah. Yeah, and I think he's going to get into that, brother. All right, I'm going to spin the wheel. Ian, hi. So busy. Good, Ian. All right, let's spin it for block 606. Amos. Are you here, though, sir? Got to be here to win. Congrats. If anybody's in here that wants to be put on the wheel, speak now or forever hold your peace. Lauren, Emily. We're not going to be here long, guys. It's a Sunday. I'm not going to hold you up too long. I've already been here almost an hour. We're just chilling out. Yes, I'm here. Thanks. No doubt, bro. Amos CBT. All right. Oh, I know you're here. You ain't got to worry about that. I know you're here. Backpacker. 607. Let's see if he can win that. Philly. Congrats. Philly, you here, brother? How are the donations today? Hey, wow. Speaking of double. Soon as you said that, Trent just sent in 1,858 Satoshi. That's my first donation today. 1858. Thank you, Trent. His streak continues. That's a Trent Zap from the great state of Minnesota. That's the only one so far, man. But it's okay. It's okay. Thank you, Trent. I really appreciate that, man. I'm here, LOL. The lead attorney. How are you, man? You want to get on the wheel or what? Is this the real lead attorney? I think I've watched your videos before, man. If this is really you, I don't know if that's you or not. There's a lot of trolls out here. How are you, man? Congratulations, Greg. Woohoo, thanks, Jerry. No doubt, bro. Greg. Philly. Amos, Greg. Rudy Gamer 123. What's up, sir? Good to have you back, man. How are you? What is it? Rudy Gamer 123. Glad to have you back, man. All right, Greg wins 607. Let's do 608. Something just happened on strike. What the hell? Trent. Megalomedia. Trent. Oh my God. Trent just sent in 15,000 sats. Thank you, Trent. Jesus. Trent, what would I do without you, sir? Oh my God. Oh yeah, that's right. Jen did send in 2,500 this morning at 4:00 this morning. Yes, I forgot about that one. She did. She did. Ian from Clean Your Machine with a CYM's app. Oh, you know what? I missed one. Hold on. I'm sorry. Samantha sent a Live Free Zap of 111. Sorry, Samantha. I didn't even see that, honey. Thank you so much, ma'am. I appreciate it. And then Ian just sends in a huge zap, a CYM zap of 2,500 sats. Thank you, Ian. You know that helps with the payroll, sir. But Trent making my phone heavy right now. Jesus, Trent. I don't know how he does it, man. This dude. Wow, man. Thank you, man. That's very kind of you, sir. I appreciate it. Good. How about you? I'm good, man. Thank you. Thank you for asking. I'm glad to hear that, brother. Glad to hear that. We're watching Bitcoin Mechanic, man. We're reacting to him basically saying that Bitcoin Core 30, the new update, can destroy Bitcoin. And he's saying he's breaking it down. I tried sending from my hot wallet. Why didn't it work months ago? Do I need to send sats or Lightning? It's the same thing on Lightning. I'm trying to send from my hot wallet. Yeah, you can send it. You can send it to this QR code right up here, Jack. You've done it before. You can just zap it over there from your wallet, from your hot wallet, from your phone, or send it to Jerry. Where is it at? This one right here. jerrylovesfreedom at speed.app. You want to use the Lightning Network, sir. Thank you. No doubt, brother. Thank you. Megalo Media. Thank you so much, Jack, for doing that. Jack, you sent me sats before. VHL, what's up, fam? Just got home from kayak fishing. Nice, man. Good to see you, man. We're listening to Bitcoin Mechanic, sir. My man, VHF. Always good to have him in here. Trent, wow, fun, VHF. Yes, Trent, Emily, VHF, Ian, boom. It didn't work for my main wallet. If it's your main wallet, your main wallet. Do you mean your because you said hot wallet, your main wallet on your phone, Jack? You talking about? Because if it's on your phone, that's usually Lightning. But what kind of wallet you using? If you don't mind me asking. Soleil, hi, my second day here. Hey man, how are you? Good to see you, bro. 3636. Put you on here, my brother. CLEH. All right, people are piling up. Them sats from Cash App work. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can send it that way. I'll tell you Trent's secret. The city pays him in sats to fight crime. I think so, man. I think so. Hey, VHF, catch any dinner? Hi, Soleil. Welcome back. Hello, Soleil. Trust wallet don't work when I scan. I don't know what that wallet is, brother. I don't know what that one is. Just try to type in jerrylovesfreedom at speed.app and use the Lightning. Use the Lightning. See if that works, Jack. You use a kayak to go fishing. You're just not stacking hard enough. Damn right, Ian. Ian, you're a fool, man. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's do block 609. See who can win that. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks for coming, especially on this Sunday. If it doesn't work, maybe you can try it from Cash App again, Jack. That's easy. That's the easiest way to do it. Angel, you're the winner. Jerry's number one Jerry fan. Nah, I just fish for fun, Greg. Yeah, CYM. Haha. Yep. I appreciate that, Jack. Thank you. Wow, Trent. Thank you so much, Trent. That's a huge zap, man. That helps a lot, brother. Really does, man. Damn, Trent. Oh, see, I'm here. You already know. I'm just making sure, brother. Angel, congratulations. VHF, that's always good catch and release. And man's got to eat, though. Yes. Thanks, Jerry. No doubt. Thank you for being here, bro. Appreciate it. Let's get back to the content.
But the point is, you can't tell people they don't have a responsibility for what's on their computer. you have to draw a line with the way the law works, and it reflects, I'm happy to say it does reflect the way humans generally think, which is it plausible? Do you have a reasonable way to say, look, I was trying to drive to the store, someone ran out into the road and I ran over them. I wasn't trying to kill them, right? I wasn't trying to hurt someone. Everyone's going to say, yeah, fair enough. As a result of driving, which is generally a reasonable thing for humans to do, sometimes people get hit.
My man, Sin Diesel, my sensei, the Renaissance man. How are you, sir? My man Sid. What's up, Sid? Put you up here, man. Cut him out. Sin, how are you, brother? We're reacting to Bitcoin Mechanic, man. He's dropping knowledge right now, Sin. You know what I mean? Sin, welcome back in, man. How are you? Thanks for coming in on Sunday, bro. Appreciate that, man. Hello, Sin Diesel. Sin in the house. Hola, Sensei. I'm enjoying some tempura shrimp right now. Ooh, I'm going to make some shrimp here soon, too. Jerry is supporting the core beater. Yes. Yes. He's preaching, too, Sin. It's a Sunday. I feel like I'm at church right now, bro. For real. Welcome to the gun show, Sin. Yeah, Sin Diesel. My man.
And accidents happen and people die. It's okay. We don't consider you an intentionally homicidal person because you drove a car and had an accident. That is how we work. That's how we're wired. It sucks and you're still going to feel bad about doing it, but you're not going to give away your car, right? But if there's a mechanism within a motor vehicle that says, or a convention around how you drive that says minimize the bad outcomes that can come from this, and you completely flagrantly ignore them, speeding through school zones 100 miles an hour, and you hit someone and hurt them, then that's your responsibility at that point. You can get hung up on the fact that someone's trying to control your behavior and it seems arbitrary. Why do I have to slow down here? The road can certainly handle me driving faster than this or whatever. But the point is, it reflects self-responsibility, moral culpability. There's a line. There is a line between I drove a car and had an accident and I wasn't doing anything ridiculous. I wasn't looking at my phone driving through a residential area, in fog or whatever, and hit a kid, like when I was going way too fast. No one is going to sit there and go, that's not your fault. They're going to say that is your fault. But there are circumstances in which you can hit someone and people are going to say, that sucks. That was unlucky.
Facts. He's preaching right now. I mean, again, common sense ain't common, but this is common sense right here. Jack, if you did that, I got it, brother. Let me see. 9,179 sets. Hola, Lauren and the lovely Miss M's. Yes. Hola, Samantha. Yes. Sent from Cash App, I guess. Hey, that works, bro. That's a lot of damn sats too, Jack. Thank you, bro. I mean, if that's the only way you do it and you want to support, I don't mind, brother. I don't mind at all. So thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. He's not from a certain party, is he? Hi, VHF. Hello, sis. Sorry, I had to wiggle myself out of this vehicle to send a message to you. Look at that. Look how much respect you get, Sin. Ian's in a car working. He had to wiggle his way out of the car just to say what's up to you, Sin. Sensei, you are the man, brother. You are the man. Finally finished with dinner. Breakfast for dinner. Oh, nice. Nice, Fanny. Samantha, much love. Yeah. Thank you again, Jack. That's a huge donation, brother. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much, bro. Seriously.
Weren't doing anything wrong. You have to understand that there's no hard line between those things. And everyone that's having a technical debate about what's being changed in Bitcoin is missing the fact that there is no technical difference. If you hit someone at 60 miles an hour when they're crossing the street, you're going to kill them. That's just how it works. That's what the technical argument is. But then we have the intention of it, which is, am I culpable for that having happened or not? If someone ran into the freeway and I hit them, it's very different from if I was speeding through a residential neighborhood. They're different things. And people are acting like they're the same because technically they're the same. The kinetic energy went from my car into this human being and it burst a bunch of their internal organs and now they're dead. Like, that's a technical argument and it misses the point of the human behind it. And we need people to run Bitcoin nodes. They have to do it and they have to be comfortable doing it. And they need to not feel like they have a moral obligation not to because of the disgusting things that they're accepting onto their computers and relaying around the network. If you get rid of spam filters, you're getting rid of their ability to discriminate. So it just becomes, I'm using a tool, I'm going to drive my car, and I really know that none of the safeguards are there anymore. I'm just going to hit people and kill them if I get in this thing. It's like basically guaranteed at this point. No one's going to drive if they have a conscience in that world. And that's what's being done to Bitcoin here. It's that serious of a change. back to the point of op return, you're going to have suddenly, it's not limited to 80 bytes anymore, which you can't really do anything with except a couple of hashes. Instead, it's going to be an 100 kilobyte file of God knows what. And I don't want to deal with that. And I'm not going to deal with that. So I'm going to filter it out, because I understand if I relay all the world's monetary history around and store it and serve it to other people, if some people have managed to trick me into believing something's a transaction when it isn't and getting it in the chain, I don't care. It's not going to trip anything. It's not going to make me feel morally culpable for having distributed CP. However, if you send me an 100 gigabyte arbitrary data file that is totally just a little MP4 file of some horrible, sexual immorality that absolutely I do not want on my computer, when I have the tool right there to discriminate against it and I'm just not using it, then it's my fault. And you don't get to evade responsibility by making technical arguments by saying, hey, it's all just ones and zeros. Go away with this frivolity and this ridiculously shallow arguments. That's not how people work. It's not just kinetic energy hitting a body and making them not alive anymore. It's what you are doing in the process. You can't. If you want to be a human being that gets the benefit of the freedom of having Bitcoin, the neutral monetary network that doesn't require third-party permission to participate in, you cannot, as a law of the universe, interact with it in a way where you have zero responsibility for what you're doing as a participant. Those things never go together. You cannot have that kind of freedom if you cannot take the responsibility that comes with it. You're used to using the internet and it always being someone else's responsibility. The reason I can use Facebook and naively click on any page within that, and if anything illicit or disgusting comes up, that's Facebook's problem. And as part of the provisioning for how they get their safe harbor status is because they have to engage in a best effort basis on removing that stuff with extreme prejudice to prevent me from seeing it. And if they fail at that, even if they're allowed to continue, I'm going to be so disgusted and there's going to be such a stigma against the website that no one goes on it anymore.
Let me tell you something. If somebody hears this and still downloads Core, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to say. Woke up bullish. What's up, brother? He woke up like this. How you doing, man? This is this is just all common sense stuff right here. I love these analogies he's using. 2, 4, 6, 7. 2, 4, 6, 7. 4, 6. 4, 6, 7. Good to see you woke up. We're reacting to Bitcoin Mechanic, man. He is letting loose too, bro, about this whole debate. Highly suggest you watch this, guys, on your own if you haven't already. I'm gonna leave the link in here too. I woke up bullish and yummy. We love taco. Got some bison and might have some bear meat to barter with neighbors. Nice. Damn. Hey, and since it's finito, I'm about to occupy my hands with these barbacoa tacos. Damn, it sounds good as hell. Anyone else want to watch him? Send in that big man. Have a conversation about anything? Want to watch him? Send and we can have a conversation about anything. Hey, man, he's Amanda and Emily. Yes, he's preaching right now, man. He's preaching all the time. Yep.
And those stigmas are incredibly powerful. Social mores. People that say, Bitcoin, isn't that drugs and money laundering and all that? And that makes it, of course, they're not going to run a Bitcoin node on their computer. Now we can push back on that and move the Overton window, and we're successful with that if we're very careful with our language, because we believe the benefit of Bitcoin outweighs accidental misuse of it or accidental facilitation of nasty, immoral stuff.
Good points. Good points, Sin. Currently, we have spam apologists on one side and hard money enthusiasts on the other. That's what it all comes down to. That is so well said, Sin. So well said. It's that simple. It's really that simple. Currently, we have spam apologists on one side, aka core boys, and hard money enthusiasts on the other. Yep, exactly. There ain't no in between. This is what I talk about with politics today. It ain't about Democrat and Republicans. It's either you are a traitor to this country or you're a patriot. Either you're about that sound money or you're about that spam. Simple as that. There's no in between on that. Well said, Sin. Sin and Lauren, boom. Son's friend is coming over. LO thinks she might get orange pill. LMFAO. Yes, of course. Hello, VHL.
And I will argue that all day because fiat is awful too. But if I'm getting rid of this mechanism I have at the mempool level of saying, I'm fine with all monetary activity, and I believe monetary activity needs to be treated with neutrality. I'm not going to pass judgment on you and what you're doing if it's monetary, because that's the wrong place to target. Your intentions and your unethical intention is the action itself, not the payment or employment of someone else to work with you on it. That's just not the right. It's not the right approach to combating that kind of stuff. And I believe that's a can of worms that no one wants to open. And every time it does get open, every time you weaponize a payment network to try and limit certain kinds of activity that is manifesting through people engaging in exchange using money, it's never the right way to do it. And we can argue that a lot. And I think that's fair enough to do. We benefit more from having a free, disintermediated payment network like Bitcoin that doesn't create these corrupt, trusted third parties that have to verify what we're doing and asking us, what are you spending this money for before I allow you to have it, which is what banks do, right? They've become deputized enforcers of a corrupt state that wants to control people by limiting what they can do with their money. Bitcoin can't become that. And I think we can all argue that it would be a terrible thing if it did. So I'm not going to start implementing blacklist filters that just treat certain UTXOs as bad. I think all UTXOs are equal. They only differ in size or, what address type they're sitting at or whatever, and the spending conditions of them self-imposed by the person that generated the address, right? If it's multi-sig rather than single sig, I'm going to understand all that and I'm going to look at it. I'm just going to be purely technical about that. I'm not going to impose these external attributes to it. But when you move into the outside of monetary data and you move to arbitrary data, where the Bitcoin network is literally a peer-to-peer network that will relay anything as long as it's 100 kilobytes or less, you've completely changed that. And if you're removing their ability to tell the difference by getting rid of spam filters or deprecating them or making them just insanely over-the-top big, then you're completely telling people you have no moral culpability for any of this stuff. If a miner puts it in the chain, or that's not your problem, even though you relayed it. That just doesn't work. Courier services incur the same responsibility. They have to engage on a good faith basis. If someone's shipping a kilo of coke across the country, the only way I get to be FedEx is if I make some reasonable effort to prevent that from being done. I'm not saying drugs are inherently immoral or something like that. That's not my argument. The point is no one's going to believe them if they don't make some effort to be like, I'm not shipping a bomb to some guy's ex-wife's house who's trying to kill her. Like, I can't be a participant in that. And if I get the impression that's what's going on here, I can't participate in it because that makes me morally culpable. At the same time, I respect the privacy of the person doing it and we try not to be too invasive and all that. But it stands to reason that the same thing applies here. And you can't escape this. That's the problem. They're trying to create a rationalization that says it's going to end up in the chain anyway. There's already CP in the blockchain from 2011. The thing is,
Yeah, Lauren. I mean, again, because you're a critical thinker and you're a smart guy, right? Because I was like that too. I'm like, okay, because he says I'm all about the first part of the argument, freedom. Freedom to interact. Like, hey, this is a freedom network. We should be able to put what we want on it. Okay, cool. But then they lose me when they start talking about the importance of pushing spam of any type, no matter what, etc. Yeah, I was full knots after that. Exactly. And then when they try to pretend, Lauren, like they don't know what spam is. What's spam? What do you mean? We don't know what that is. Or, oh, we can't stop it anyway. So what's the problem? Again, it's one thing when they have their updates to say you have the choice, Lauren, whether or not to have the filters or the op return on there. They're not even giving you the option, and they're making the space bigger so you can put bigger spam on there. That's what they're doing, and they're forcing you, if you have core running your node, to do it. They're forcing you to do it, and they're like, no, you can't do that. That's why it's like everybody's like, forget this. We're going to knots. We're not downloading this crap. Not on my mempool. Not on my computer. Bear meat is greasy, but still good. Sin says, bison burgers are my jam. Never had bear. I think I will have to pass on that unless my life depended on it. I like to make myself diverse and situated wherever I need it. If needed, I can. I'm all about bison for sure. Lauren, CYM, and bullish, yes. Yep, bison is delish, absolutely.
You can't equivocate yourself out of it. That's a child just saying, what about this? What about that? It doesn't matter what I did. He did it. Why don't I get to do it? Like it's literally like dealing with children. Oh, my big sister got to eat a donut. Why don't I get to eat a donut? Because you haven't eaten your proper food yet, right? Like we're trying to hold you accountable for yourself and trying to make you a responsible person. So I'm not taking all these what about ifs and what about arguments because they're not relevant.
The troll's in the house. He says, since tomorrow is Labor Day, is there going to be a Labor Day discount for pizzas? If so, you're going to make a lot of money tomorrow when you go to work delivering pizzas. That's your real job, he says. Well, what's wrong with delivering pizzas, the troll? Bear market is dependent. Bear meat is dependent on the seasoning. Yeah. I never had bear meat. Elk is my favorite too, Packer. Moose too, yeah.
You don't, any honest person that's going to look at themselves and say, I need to run a Bitcoin node to participate in the network. What's the cost of me doing that? Am I participating in something that makes me sick, that I just don't want to be a part of anymore, that seems to characterize the network as a whole? I'm just not going to do that. This has been, we have case studies. We have enough people out there that associate. This is why they pushed so hard to make Bitcoin associated with drugs and terrorist financing and other horrible things like CP. They tried really hard to do that, and it was really effective because people don't have time to analyze whether those are being made in a genuine capacity as arguments or not. People only have so many cycles, mental thoughts of that they can attribute to an unknown tech that works differently to what they're used to before they dismiss it. And most people dismiss Bitcoin based on those things, and you still meet people today. Then crypto did the same thing. Scams after scams after scams. Isn't Bitcoin just another crypto? These are incredibly powerful. And I'm not saying we need the whole world to adopt Bitcoin, but I am saying if they do adopt it, they need to run nodes or the network's screwed. And if running a node is an activity where you become unable to discriminate against random peer-to-peer file sharing, that necessarily, like, here's another argument they make, is that it's encrypted. And I think I alluded to this already, but they're saying, look, V2 transactions are encrypted in transit. So your ISP isn't going to go, he's sending CP from here to, or someone is sending CP to this guy in this house, or this guy is sending CP to someone else, because it's encrypted in transit. And they're saying, and at rest, it's encrypted as well in the block files. But because of the valid transaction element, and I'm repeating myself here, but it bears repeating, it has to be decrypted and processed in RAM on your computer. And if that's an inscription, if that's a fake pub key, if that's a bare multisig like it's always been in the past, fine. That doesn't really matter because nothing on your computer is going to reassemble all of the broken up chunks of a JPEG or a malicious MP4 file in a way that triggers stuff that makes you go, you're crossing the line, you're distributing nasty stuff here. Nothing's going to do that. Even inscriptions, as much as I hate them, don't do that. Op return does, because it's just one contiguous chunk of data with just a tiny little bit at the beginning saying this is an op return, and then op push bytes. And then that's it. You have the op return after that. And that's going to flag everything on your computer locally. It's going to say that's what this is. And then if that becomes the norm and everyone turns a blind eye to that at the mempool level, then we were not a network that could self-regulate, and we don't get the freedom. It will just fall apart because you're not going to have the protection in numbers anymore, because too many people are going to say, I'm not going to participate in this. It's gross. I downloaded the Bitcoin blockchain, and something on my computer said, this program has illicit content in it. It's like that's going to trip people's disgust sense, and they're not going to want to participate in this anymore. And if enough people just do anyway, then it ends up in the blockchain. And you're wondering, why are these miners putting it in? Are they not culpable? And they know they're culpable. That's why you can submit stuff to Slipstream. So Francis Pouliot came out with a thought like that he had, where he's like, why aren't people just submitting evil, gross stuff to Slipstream so that they have to shut down the service? It's KYC free. Because they moderate. Because they have to. You can submit random stuff to Slipstream. You can maliciously submit CP to Slipstream if you want. They're not going to put that in the chain, guys, because they know that they're culpable for doing that, and they don't want the responsibility of doing it, because that's going to get them shut down. It's going to be absolutely disastrous for them, because at every step, everything that's happening in Bitcoin comes down to the decisions of individual people, and people act like they're not relevant. You can't control this thing. You have no power here. Yeah, you can filter. It makes no difference. It's still ending up in the chain. The message, repeated and repeated ad nauseum, is you don't have any responsibility for how this thing works. And it's the opposite. Of course you have responsibility. Everyone taking personal responsibility is why certain things just don't happen in Bitcoin, because everyone is going to act in a way that they have to in order to maintain and preserve their sovereignty and their freedom. You can't have brilliant things like that if you're going to pretend you're not responsible for things that you are. So op return, the fact that they're making this 100,000 bytes when it's been 80 forever, means suddenly by default, every single Bitcoin node that upgrades to Bitcoin Core 30 by default is going to start accepting arbitrary data, massive files that can contain anything on an uncurated network, where you no longer have the protections of some big platform with the safe harbor protection. Like
80 to 100,000. That's a big jump. And again, why do they need to be the size of 100,000, and why are they not allowing you to say, no, I don't want that if you run core with your node? Why? You know what I mean? Again, follow the incentives, man. Follow the incentive. That is crazy, man. Crazy. Let's do a spin real quick, guys. A couple spins. Sin, you are a future teller, sir. You are absolutely right. Just what you said, it came to fruition, man. Because common sense is common to some people that are smart. Not a lot of these idiots. I'm gonna spin for block 610, guys. Good luck. Woke up bullish. I don't who rambles nonsense and psychobabble more. I don't who ramble nonsense and psychobabble more. This Grizzly Adams guy or Jerry? Joke. We know it's Jerry. I don't who ramble. I don't understand what you're saying, the troll. Let's go. Let's go, WWUB. Congrats. You might want to double check your sentences, the troll, before you make a sentence. WB. What's going on, Freedom Family? Jason, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. How are you? We're reacting to Bitcoin Mechanic, man. Welcome in, my boy. Love having you in the signal chat, man. Love that, brother. Jerry, I'm on the wheel. Oh, no, you're not, Sin. No, yeah. You are, Sin. I got you right here, brother. Got you right there at the top. But if you have bad intentions from the start, you're going to argue that you just can't stop it. So why try? Just let it happen. Yeah, but if you have bad intentions from the start, you argue that you just can't stop it. So why? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you were on there saying, yeah, never mind. I see it was covered up. No doubt, brother. No doubt. Yeah. And again, man, it's like it's so anybody that has two brain cells to rub together can see that this is nonsense. So if they're doing this on purpose and acting like they're not doing this on purpose, then we gotta say something, speak up about it. Again, man, not only is our life savings into this stuff with Bitcoin, but the future of humanity is on the line here. Because again, the analogy I use that if you have a car in the middle of the desert and the alignment is just off a tiny bit and it's going to the right, you may not feel it going to the right, but if it keeps driving for miles and miles and miles and miles, you're going to veer off your course if you had somewhere you had to go that was straight away. And where's the place we're trying to go? We're trying to separate money and state. But if they keep making these tiny little changes that nobody cares about, what do you mean spam? How can we stop that? What's wrong with taking it from 80 to 100,000? It's no big deal. And oh, by the way, you can't change it on core when you run your nodes. Like, come on, man. The beauty of decentralization is a power to opt out. Exactly, Sin. And that's why I run knots. Holy shit. Samantha, thank you, honey. Damn. Samantha, Onchain. Damn, I would have thought this was Paul for a second if it wasn't a big lib freeze app coming in on chain. 11,111. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. That's a lot of sats, man. Thank you, Samantha. It's a live freeze app. I'm out of town visiting my dad and I bought my Switch. Did you bring it or bought it? Did you buy another one? I'm out of town visiting my dad and I bought my Switch 2. You really think I'm going to study Bitcoin? Question mark. F no. Never will, especially on my vacation. F you and Gaylor. Okay. You might want to go back to English class, the troll. Nice, Samantha. Thank you, Samantha. That's a huge donation, man. Thank you so much. This is exactly what the libs did. Little bit of changes over time, then a little more, then more, etc. Exactly. They just take, and I've been saying this for years. They just take little bites and chunks, little tiny pieces of your freedom, right? Little things away from the Constitution. Anything that the Democrat Party is accusing Trump of, and they're trying to say this to him, is just an admission of this is what we're doing over here. When they say, "Oh, he's trying to undermine the Constitution," that's what they do. They want to take away free speech and the Second Amendment. That's what they want to do. You know what I mean? Samantha, yes, Samantha, thank you. Samantha, very generous, Samantha. Thank you. Grown man playing with a Nintendo Switch, LMAO. That's what I'm saying, man. Nights and weekends, man. Sam, very nice. Yeah, that's a huge donation. Thank you. WUB, you're the winner. For 610. Let's see if we can do 611. See if we can win that one. Yeah, Detroit, you might want to work on your English, sir, before you send in. Angel again. Congratulations. You know, I know we're supposed to be chilling and cruising on a Sunday, but I want our week to get started off right by being fighters. You know what I mean? And standing up to this bullshit. Grego, nothing wrong with gaming. This isn't the knock you think it is. Okay. But you're in a Bitcoin chat talking about video games, man. I gotta step out for a bit, Jerry. Take me out the wheel, no doubt, brother. Yes. Got you, VHL. Appreciate you coming in here, man. You know what I'm saying, the troll? Just saying. Let's keep it going.
Like YouTube, like Twitter, like Facebook, all of these things where it's user submitted content, but it goes through a filter run by someone else. Suddenly, you're going to remove your ability to do that. And you're going to be accepting all of this stuff. And it's going to go too far. On a practical level, you just won't have the plausible deniability anymore. Just like I mentioned with the car. If you hit someone while driving and it's plausible that you were being a responsible person while you were doing it, that's very different than if you weren't. And if you're running a Bitcoin node with no filters, accepting arbitrary data and storing this nasty stuff on your computer because there's no middleman to cleanse it for you and to put it through a filter on your behalf, you can't act and play dumb in that scenario. It's not going to fly. No one's going to believe you. If you're running a Bitcoin node and your computer is filled up with CP, maybe the miners don't include it in the chain because they're not stupid. They're the ones running the filters, but you're not. Core sycophants can come at me and tell me, oh, miners are still economically incentivized to include CP in the chain. Wake up, guys. They are huge regulated entities.
Yep. All right, we got almost 2/3 through it. So here's a link to it, guys. Make sure you go on over there and check out Bitcoin Mechanic. Not only watch this video, but subscribe to Bitcoin Mechanic, guys. Trent says, are you saying I can start doing not jokes again? Yeah, of course. Of course. I have both. Okay. Going too far is never far enough for those that can be bought and paid for. Damn right, Sin. Going too far is never far enough for those that can be bought and paid for. Yep. Exactly. There's a lot of nefarious people out here, man. A lot of nefarious people. But again, that's the last of the spins. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and get out of here. I really appreciate you coming in on a Sunday. Do a quick little hour and a half live here. No news to really report today. We're just getting together and grouping up and getting ready for the week, right? Because again, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that's unfortunately what's happened to our country. And right now, the people that are still running core and defending this is what happened to them, man. You know what I mean? What? Yeah, Jason. Yeah, so I'm gonna let y'all go, man. I'm gonna keep y'all all night. I really appreciate y'all coming. Unless there's something else you guys want me to talk about. But we're gonna start the week off right, guys. You know, and the base layer of the money is under attack. I believe it. And please, guys, I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just saying, if you run a Bitcoin node, guys, consider running knots. And if you haven't run a node yet, I highly suggest you do. Learn about mining. That's what I'm doing right now. And run a Bitcoin node and run Bitcoin knots. With happy Sunday, Jerry fam. Love you all. Bless you, no doubt. I know it's a Sunday, but felt different today. Yeah. I like my Sundays to be a little bit different. You know what I mean? Just a little bit different. But we'll be back to regularly scheduled program tomorrow. You know what I mean? Later, Jerry, no doubt. Emily, peace. Good night, BTC fam. Bless you all, no doubt. Tomorrow is proof of work day. Yes. Labor Day, proof of work day. I love it, Sin. I love it, brother. I love it. Yes, Labor Day. Yes. But I'll be here. You know what I mean? I will be here. So only time I'm not here is if I'm traveling or something, and then it might change the schedule or whatever. But I plan on trying to do these every single day, man. Have a great day, everyone. Hope you guys are off for the holiday tomorrow. No doubt. Thank you, Lauren. Have a great labor weekend, everyone. No doubt, man. Thank you, Rod. So anyways, guys, we must protect the network. It's the only way we're going to break this system. But we can't let these nefarious actors come from within and try to break this from within. Short, bit, sweet. Enjoy your Sunday, everyone. No doubt, man. Day, LOL. It's all good. Is all or nothing off the table? We don't do that on the weekends, Dean. We don't do it on the weekends. Peace, everyone. No doubt. Sensei, have a wonderful Sunday. Yes. So we must protect the network, not just from the evildoers over here, not just from them. Okay? That's what we're fighting against. But we're fighting against the people that are inside. These people here are trying to infiltrate our beautiful system. We must stand together and protect it. All right? Because it is the only way to break this system, pay off the national debt, stop inflation and save humanity, because the only way to fix the world is by fixing the money. And we all know what the best money is. And if I had to take a guess, or I had to make a gamble on it or a bet on it, because I am a gambling man sometimes, I'm pretty sure you guys already know what that is. It's the best way to save. And for me, the only way to save. And that's Bitcoin. Thank you guys again. I really, really appreciate you, man. Enjoy your night. It's Labor Day weekend tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to start at the same time tomorrow. I usually start at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. I may, but it depends on what's going on and everything, because it's just a different day. It's a holiday, so we'll see. But so far, we're going to do the same time, same bat channel. If something changed, I'll let you know, all right? Thank you guys so much. I really, really appreciate the love, the zaps, the big donations. Thank you so much. You guys power the show with that. And also, I appreciate the most valuable asset that you have, and that's your time, and you can't get that back. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. And until then, and as you guys know, I love each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace and love, guys.